you get it up. What a great evening. Oh my gosh. Mark, thank you. Thank you for doing this. This is the best tribute I mean, I've never been to a tribute, but this is very emotional for me. I don't know whether to laugh or cry. It's just, I mean, it's fantastic. Thank you, San Francisco. Thank you. I'm just shaking. It's so emotional for me to see David like this. And all the tribute artists and the fashion show and everything. Thank you so much.
So Candy, is this your first time here at the Castro?
My very first time, and I'm so happy they keep these theaters like this. They don't knock them down. It's just beautiful.
I will say, I think we have some of the best audiences here at this theater in the world. Very cinematically educated, very appreciative. So you've seen tonight what Bowie meant to so many other performers. What did he mean to you?
I just feel like crying, you know, and I don't want to start crying on stage, but just his body of work and just his intelligence. Even when he was a kid talking about long hair, you know, he was just such a leader, and he was always in the front, and he's just so beautiful and handsome, and gosh, and he looked so happy in a lot of his film, like most of them. So, yeah.
It's really interesting to me hearing you talk about him. You know, we're also starstruck by him because we know him from the, you know, the remove that the audience has. But to hear you have that admiration as someone that was up close and personal, very up close and personal in a couple of the scenes in The Man Who Fell to Earth, I think it just speaks to the power of this man's work.
Yes, it does speak to the power, and luckily when I did the film, I hadn't seen him on stage, so he was just another actor to me, and if I hadn't seen him on stage before we did the film together, I would have just been one of those gaga groupies, you know, it would have been really impossible to work, you know, as an equal. But he's just so magical. I'm just so sorry that he's gone.
What's fascinating to me about all this is that he came to the set of The Man Who Fell to Earth, you know, this enormous superstar already, but he had never done a film before. And you really were experienced.
I think he had done Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence. I think he'd done small parts. But
I mean, this was major for him, though.
Yeah, this was a big role for
and you had
both of
already
us.
Certainly had some experience in the film, some incredible experiences in the film industry. You were really the more experienced of the two of you.
Yeah, but you know, that doesn't mean I was good. It just means I maybe had a little more experience. But you know,
was she good, guys? I think she was good.
Thank you. David definitely made me better. He brought me up to a great level, and we had a really good working rapport together.
What was it like working with him? I know that you said you didn't socialize with him much off set, but the director I know insisted on very intimate conditions in a lot of the rehearsals. I read this in an interview that you did recently. What was the kind of getting to know each other in character experience like for the two of you?
Now what? What was the question?
What was it like getting to work with him so closely? What was the rehearsal like?
Well, I really enjoyed his work ethic. Being a musician, he wasn't afraid of doing things over and over again. And I always, you know, I don't have the best memory when it comes to learning. I wasn't a good student in school. So he liked to run lines, and so, you know, that's the only way I can learn the lines, is doing them over and over again. And I attribute that to him being a musician, and every time they change venues, they go on stage and they rehearse before the show starts, and they do the same material over and over again, and they can never get bored with it because it would show on stage. So I think that his background as a musician and a singer was helpful, especially to me, for running lines, because a lot of actors think they get stale the more they run the lines and do the dialogue. But you know, the more I know it, the better I can be. And Dave and I had, when we would be shooting one scene, we would be working on the next scene. So in between